You know, I was watching the other day a segment of the Red Table Talk. You guys know I watch a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of therapeutic kind of stuff, and I read a lot of books and stuff like that on spirituality and healing and stuff like that. And the Red Table Talk is really good. Like, I've seen some great stuff on there. And I was watching it the other day because Kevin Hart was on. And Kevin Hart and Will Smith are both from Philadelphia. So I wanted to check out what their conversation would be like because I'm from Philadelphia. And I was really blown away by their conversation because they're black men. And black men are not often recorded having these kinds of conversations. They probably have them. They probably have them every day. But I rarely hear and see, my men having these conversations. And I'm not sure about men from other cultures. They might not. I'm not sure. But I thought it was amazing for these two brothers to be having this conversation. And the conversation was on fatherhood. They were talking about your relationships with your kids and in general, and they also mentioned relationships with their significant others. So one of the things that they said that I thought was so profound was the importance of listening. So many of my clients come to me, especially the couples, and one of the biggest problems they have is they don't hear each other. And Will and Kev were talking about this, and I was like, man, this is brilliant. And I've talked about it before in the past too, but it was just so great to hear two black men talking about it and really getting it. I was like, this is profound. I loved it. So I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about listening. Okay? I'm Queen Aset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Also, please leave us a positive comment in the comment section and stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read out some other positive comments and respond to them. If you would like to get a reading done, if you would like to get some Ask an Aquarius merchandise, if you would like to become one of my patrons on Patreon, if you would like to send me a love donation or send the channel a love donation or send me a gift from my Amazon wish list, all of that information is underneath this video. Okay? So back to listening. The thing about listening is that most people don't do it. And you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, I listen, but do you really? Because most people listen to respond. They listen to what the other person has to say just enough that they're formulating their own thoughts about what the person is saying while they're saying it. So they're not really listening intently, deeply. They're listening to respond. And listening to respond and listening with intention are two different things. When you listen to respond, you're really only half-ass listening. When you're listening with intention, you're listening to understand. Two big things, two big different things, okay? So the best gift that you can give people, especially your significant others and your children, the best gift you can give is to listen with intention. Not just listening to get them to shut up, not just listening real quick so you can move on to the next thing, but listening to really hear their feelings and what it is they're trying to say. And I think almost all of us are guilty of this at some point in time because it's not something that we're really taught in school or our parents. Unless you see it modeled or you go to therapy, most of us don't learn this. And this is why I wanted to tell you guys, because I know some of y'all already know about it because we've talked about it, but I thought that some of you might not. And I've actually done videos about it before, but it was about a certain topic. This is the first time I'm talking specifically about listening. So the first question becomes, how do I listen with intention? Okay. So I got a nice little chart here. I went and did some research. I got a nice little chart. And my chart says, number one, when you're talking to your significant other, or your family member, whoever your loved one is, because you're going to do this with people you really care about. People that you don't care about, you're probably not going to be able to do this, but try as much as you can with everybody, but especially the ones you really love. So the first one says, with your body. Listen with your body. So how do you listen with your body? According to the chart, it's your face. For a lot of us, I know for me, my face gives everything away. If I'm talking about something and I'm feeling something different, you can tell by my facial expression. I don't have the best poker face unless I'm conscious. If I'm conscious of it, I'm good at it. But if I'm not conscious, my face will give me away. So according to this, it says face the person, look them dead in the eye. I don't trust people who don't look me in my eye. One of my exes, my ex entanglements, said to me that, oh, you're trying to, manipulate him, basically is what he was trying to say. But nah, that ain't nothing to do with manipulation. If you can't meet my gaze, you're up to something, period. And that's the only time me looking at you should really be uncomfortable. So in this case, when you're talking to this person that you care about, it says to face them, look in their face, focus on them, and really intently pay attention. That's number one. That's how you listen with your body. Number two, listen with your heart. So this one I think is a little bit easier for most of us. We recognize this one because you're just going to practice being compassionate. So whatever they say to you, you're not listening in a judgmental way. You're listening with compassion. And that too should read on your face. 3, listen with your ears. So this is obviously the way that you're not used to doing it. But instead of thinking about your response, just listen to what they have to say. It says listen thoughtfully. So you're not thinking about your response, you're thinking about what they're saying. So instead of thinking, how will I respond to this? Think, what are they really saying here? Is there anything underneath? Because a lot of people say things, but then there's, if you read between the lines, there's more there. So you're listening to see what are they really saying to you, and what can you do about what they're saying to you. You shouldn't be thinking about how to respond to it. You should be thinking about, what are they asking for? What is the need here? And sometimes it's not anything more than they just need you to listen. And that's fine. But listen for what they're saying and why they're saying it. Number 4, listen with your eyes. Remember I talked about looking at the person? This says watch and observe. So when you're looking at them, you're not just creepily staring at them, you're observing them. You're looking at the way that they frown. You're looking at the little lines in their eyes. You're looking at this part here, because the face makes motions based on how the person's feeling. If they're angry, if they're getting frustrated, if they're thinking really hard about a lie, if you're really looking at their face and you're observing it and you're watching it, look at if they're self-soothing themselves, like rubbing their hands, or if they're nervous. All of these are tells about what is going on with that person. And if you're watching them, looking at them, and not thinking about what am I going to say next, you'll pick up on all these clues. And some of them could be very helpful, especially in supporting that person. Number 5, the last one says, listen with your mouth. This is another very important one. After the person says whatever they're going to say, now, mind you, you're sitting there, you're listening, you're paying attention. They said what they're going to say and they stop, okay? Then I recommend that if you can do this, you repeat back what they just said. So instead of just moving on, you repeat it back. So if the person says to me, I really think that all elephants are pink, for example. And I would say back, okay, so what you're saying is all animals are pink. And then they could say, no, 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 no. I said all elephants are pink, not all animals. So at that moment, you can say back what you heard and they can correct it if you didn't hear it right. Or maybe you did hear it exactly what they said. Then they can say, yes, you got it. So in this instance, you're saying back their words and the emotion that they expressed to you from what they just said. This is very important. The reason why this is probably one of the most important is because, number one, they know you heard them. They know you comprehended what they just said. They know you understand their emotion. This is huge. How many times have you talked to a person and didn't feel heard? I got a buddy and we're still friends. Well, we're still friendly, but every time I talk, I don't feel like she hears me. Not even don't feel like, I know she doesn't hear me, because every time I speak, she is thinking of what to say next. And she's thinking about what I'm saying through her own lens. So she's trying to figure out, based on her beliefs, what I'm saying. And you can't do that. You got to just listen to what I say. So I am the kind of person who's not going to complain. I'm not a big complainer, but when I feel like somebody's not hearing me, I stop talking to them. So the greatest gift that you can give your loved one is to listen to them. Now, in an argument, this could be very helpful because most arguments are ineffective because both people don't hear each other. All of the couples I know who've been able to work through their problems changed in this area, the listening part. So if you can listen to them and then reflect back what they said, and then it's your turn. So I've listened to you, I've repeated what you said, I understand and I show through everything, through those 5 ways, my facial expression, through everything, that I hear you. Now is your turn to hear me. So I say whatever I'm going to say. You do the same thing back. You speak it back. I correct it, whatever. Now we have both been heard. And now we can compromise and decide, based on what we both need, how we might be able to fix this. Now, you won't be able to fix everything, obviously. Everything isn't fixable, but a good portion of things can be fixed by this simple listening with intention technique. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, even if you've been with them for a long time, you can implement this kind of thing into your relationship. The only thing you need is their consent. I know a lot of people who've been trying to do different things to make their relationships better, and the other person not be with it. You do need them to be on board. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about how she could make her relationship better, but her significant other, he doesn't want to go to therapy. I've run into this problem a lot. So now they're going back and forth about what to do about the problem, but he keeps taking things off the table. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, look, do you want this relationship or not? Period. Because one of his biggest problems is he doesn't know how to listen. Some people are just so hard-headed. But like I said before, because we're not really taught this, this is something that you can change. You just got to talk to your significant other, and they have to be willing to work on the changes. And if they're not willing to work on it, then you have a whole nother question. Why are you with somebody who's not willing to work on your relationship? So that was what I learned about listening. And I didn't know this all my life. I just recently found this out. I just recently learned this myself, you know, in the past, like, I guess 6 years or so. So I went a long time without knowing this information. So if you can get this now, especially those of you who are younger, if you can get this now, you can probably have a lot more fulfillment in your relationships. All right, now we're going to take a look at today's positive comments. Miss J gave the first positive comment. Miss J said, hurt me and watch me begin to slowly but surely check out. You know, I think this is very Aquarius. I think other people do this too. Other sun signs do this too. But I think it's very Aquarius because I'm exactly the same way. I don't really talk when I'm hurt. I don't have a tendency to say, you hurt me, which is a mistake. I really should do that. But I don't. I just kind of back away. You know, whenever, and anybody that knows me, if I used to be very, 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 very close to this person or just a little close to that person, and you see me not around them no more, know they did something to hurt me. They did something. Because I'm not the kind of person, and I don't think Miss J is either, who just detaches for no reason. It's a reason. Because detaching from someone is in general a defense mechanism so that they won't continue to hurt you. But I think in the future, I'm going to work on actually talking because I think that that could be helpful. It's just the fact that it's not always going to be. So I'm going to have to gauge when it's helpful and when it's not. If it's somebody that really cares about you, it can be helpful. If they don't care anyway, it's really no point. Moonchild. Hey, Moonchild. Moonchild said, oh my God, I love unicorns too. Thank you for your video. The other day, I did a reading with 3 different unicorn decks. So if you like unicorns, check out that pick a card reading. I think it's called Unicorns Everywhere, something like that. But that's what it is. It's a pick a card reading with 3 different unicorn decks. All right, guys, that was the last one. So thank you. Come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.